day to you viewers, the Colonel speaking to you live from the Grange, British Imperial YouTube Broadcasting. Today we're doing records from the Dominion set of famous authors in readings from their own works. And today we've got W. Jacobs reading The Dreamer from Short Cruises, series catalogue number B2. Yes, it's the second one in the series. I'm going to do them in consecutive order, except the ones I've already done. You may recall W. Jacobs from the wonderful ghost story The Monkey's Paw, which is still a classic and really about the only one of his works which is still known. Here we go.
Dreams and warnings are things I don't believe in, said the night watchman. The only dream I ever had that come anything like true was once when I dreamt I came in for a fortune and next morning found half a crown in the street, what I sold to a man for fourpence. And once, 2 days after my missus had dreamt she'd spilt a cup of tea down the front of her Sunday dress, she spoiled a pot of paint of mine by sitting in it. The only other dream I know of that come true happened to the cook of a bark I was aboard of once, called the Southern Belle. He was a silly, pasty-faced sort of chap, always giving himself airs about education to sailormen who didn't believe in it. And one night, when we was homeward bound from Sydney, he suddenly sat up in his bunk and laughed so loud that he woke us all up. "What's wrong, Cookie?" says one of the chaps. "I was dreaming," says the cook. "Such a funny dream. I dreamt old Bill Foster fell out of the foretop and broke his leg." "Well, what is there to laugh at in that?" says old Bill very sharp. "It was funny in my dream," said the cook. "You look so comic with your leg doubled up under you, you can't think. But it made a cat laugh. Bill Foster said he'd make him laugh the other side of his face if he wasn't careful. And then we went off to sleep again and forgot all about it. If you'll believe me, only 3 days after it, poor Bill did fall out of the foretop and break his leg. He was surprised. I never see a man so surprised as the cook was. His eyes was nearly starting out of his head. But by the time the other chaps had picked Bill up and asked him whether he was hurt, Cook had pulled himself together again and was giving himself such airs it was perfectly sickening. My dreams always come true, he says. It's a kind of second sight with me. It's a gift, and being tender-hearted, it worries me terrible sometimes. He was going on like that, taking credit for a pure accident, when the second officer came up and told him to carry Bill below. He was in agony, of course, but he kept his presence of mind. And as they passed the cook, he gave him such a clip on the side of the head as nearly broke it. "That's for dreaming about me," he says. The skipper and the first officer and most of the hands set his leg between them. And after the skipper had made him what he called comfortable, but what Bill called something that I won't soil my ears by repeating, the officers went off, and the cook came and sat down by the side of Bill and talked about his gift. "I don't talk about it as a rule," he says, "because it frightens people." "It's a wonderful gift, Cookie," said Charlie Epps. All of them thought the same, not knowing what a first-class liar the cook was, and he sat there and lied to them till he couldn't hardly speak. He was so hoarse.
Right, on the side too. And let's hope his false teeth don't whistle quite so much in this half.
My grandmother was a gypsy, he says, and it's in the family. Things that are going to happen to people I know come to me in dreams, same as poor Bill's did. It's curious to me sometimes, when I look round at you chaps, seeing you going about happy and comfortable, and knowing all the time horrible things that's going to happen to you. Sometimes it gives me the fair shivers. "Horrible things to us, Slushy?" says Charlie, staring. "Yes," says the cook, nodding. "I never was on a ship before with such a lot of unfortunate men aboard. Never. There's 2 poor fellas what'll be dead corpses inside of 6 months, sitting here laughing and talking as if they was going to live to 90. Thank your stars you don't have such dreams." Who are the 2, Cookie?" says Charlie after a bit. "Never mind, Charlie," says the cook in a sad voice. "It would do no good if I was to tell you. Nothing can alter it." "Give us a hint," says Charlie. "Well, I'll tell you this much," says the cook, after sitting with his head in his hand thinking. "One of them is nearly the ugliest man in the forecastle, and the other ain't. Of course, that didn't help him much, but it caused a lot of argufying. and the ugliest man aboard, instead of being grateful, behaved more like a wild beast than a Christian when it was pointed out to him that he was safe. After that dream about Bill, there was no keeping the cook in his place. He had dreams pretty near every night, and talked little bits of them in his sleep. Little bits that you couldn't make head nor tail of. And when we asked him next morning, he'd always shake his head and say, "Never mind." Sometimes he'd mention a chap's name in his sleep and make him nervous for days. It was an unlucky voyage, that, for some of them. About a week after poor Bill's accident, Ted Jones started playing catch-ball with another chap in an empty beer bottle. And about the fifth chuck, Ted caught it with his face. We thought he was killed at first, he made such a noise, but they got him down below. And after they'd picked out as much broken glass as Ted would let them, the second officer did him up in ticking plaster and told him to keep quiet for an hour or two. Ted was very proud of his looks, and the way he went on was alarming. First of all, he found fault with the chap he was playing with, and then he turned on the cook. "It's a pity you didn't see that in a dream," he said, trying to sneer only the ticking plaster was too strong for him. "But I did see it," said the cook, drawing himself up. "What?" said Ted, starting. "I dreamt it night afore last, just exactly as it happened," says the cook in an offhand way. "Why didn't you tell me then?" says Ted, choking. "It'd have been no good," says the cook, smiling and shaking his head. "What I see must happen. I only see the future, and that must be." "But you stood there watching me chucking the bottle about," says Ted, getting out his trunk. "Why didn't you stop now?" "You don't understand," says the cook. "If you'd had more education." He didn't have time to say any more before Ted was on him. And Cookie, being no fighter, had to cook with one eye for the next 2 or 3 days.
Well, that was exciting, wasn't it? What a curious accent that bloke had. And did you hear the noises off? The sort of bumping and very strange. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you and goodbye.